And we're back with my next guest, who is Justin Deering, who is a graduate student at Lynn University, and he just wrote a book. And the name of the book is The End-of-the-World Delusion 2012. What an interesting title. Thanks for being with me, Justin.
Hey, thanks for having me, Barry.
So tell me why you wrote the book.
Well, we all keep hearing that the end of the world is coming soon. Maybe as soon as December of this year. We'll all be dead, or worse. I'm here to say that, the reports of the end of the world have been greatly exaggerated.
What's worse than death?
Well, I tell you, they all throughout history there have been people saying that the end of the world is right around the corner. The end is nigh. And not once have they been able to call it right. What really worries me is when these doomsday prophets are successful. Not successful like they picked the right date, but successful like they actually managed to amass a following and they have people believing in these claims. Because what happens is these people go out and they spend all their money. They think, oh, the world's ending. I'm not going to need it anymore, right? The worst case is they actually commit suicide and mass suicide. So this is really a life or death issue. And, these people, these doomsday prophets, they literally scare people to death. And it's not right. So I'm sending the message out there that a message of hope and that there's really nothing to worry about.
So how is The End-of-the-World Delusion different from other books on the market?
Well, that's a very good question. There are other books on the market that deal with subjects like these. Last year we had a rapture scare. May 21st, 2011 was supposed to be the rapture and the judgment day, and the true believers of God would be brought up to heaven and everybody else would be left behind. And there's whole books have been made to say the case that no man knows the day or the hour. Environmentalists sometimes will worry us with global cooling or global warming, and there's been reputable scientists to make the case that there's really nothing to worry about as far as any kind of environmental catastrophe. But what I do is I take a multidisciplinary approach. I look at the science behind it, I look at the religious claims, I look at the New Age movement, people who worried about the Mayan calendar. The Maya themselves never actually believed that anything was supposed to happen in 2012. So I just look at all of these situations and I say, you know what? This is the same doomsday, different scenario. And no matter where they're coming from, religion, science, or whatever, there's really nothing to worry about.
How many people actually believe all this stuff, that the end is near?
Well, sometimes it doesn't seem like that much. I saw a poll the other day. 10% of people believe that the Mayan calendar is going to be the end of the world. As far as environmental catastrophe, about 25% of people believe that the end of the civilization could happen as a result of man-made climate change. As far as Jesus coming back, 40% of Americans think that could happen by the year 2050. You add these numbers up, you get something like 70-75% of people, so it seems like an awful lot. Now, there's a little bit of overlap between these areas, so I think the real number is probably more about half. I think it's about 50% of Americans walking around with the vague idea that we are in the end times for one reason or another.
So just what is it about people that makes them feel like the end is near?
Well, I think people like to see patterns. And people need to see patterns and see meaning, even when there is no meaning or when there is no pattern. For example, I think that a lot of people have their Bibles and they look at what's going on in the world. They say, look, there's earthquakes, there's war, there's famine. Well, this has never happened before, and they think that the end is near. I've talked to people who look at the coldest summer on record or the warmest summer on record, and they say no matter what's going on, they think that the end is right around the corner. I think that people are just pre-wired to believe in this stuff for a variety of reasons. In my book, I actually talk about one of the oldest known doomsday claims. It goes back to 2800 BC. They found a tablet that says, wow, people are misbehaving and bribery and corruption are common. Kids don't obey their parents anymore. The end of the world is evidently here.
I'm looking forward to reading it. Where can people buy the book?
Well, you can check out the website. It's endofworldbook.com. You can also order it up. It's up on Amazon. It's up on barnesandnoble.com. The title is End-of-the-World Delusion. You can get the ebook for $9.99. You can get the hardcover for $24.95. And you can get the paperback for $20.12.
Well, I think it's great that you had the gumption to do this, and I'm looking forward to reading it. I really thank you very much for being on the show.
Well, thanks again. And you know what? Let me go ahead and autograph your book here. You do a lot of good work for the people here in South Florida and keeping everybody informed, so let me hook you up here.
Well, how about that, folks? Make sure you pick up a copy. It'll be an interesting read. I could probably assure you of that. And maybe we'll get some of the people to realize that the end of the world is not near. But I appreciate you being with me, and we'll be right back.